The second set didn't begin with spectacular winners or impossible passing shots. It began with something much more important. A change in belief. Alex Eala walked back onto center court looking exactly the same as she had in the first set. Calm, focused, composed. But inside her game, everything had changed. She stopped allowing Iga Swiatek to control the rhythm of every rally. Instead of waiting behind the baseline, she stepped forward. She took the ball earlier. She cut away the time that had allowed the defending champion to dictate play. It looked like a small adjustment. But against a player like Swiatek, small adjustments can completely change a match. Point by point, Eala started asking different questions. Questions the defending champion hadn't expected to answer. Every aggressive return forced Swiatek to play one extra shot. Every deep backhand pushed her slightly farther out of position. Every confident service hold reminded everyone that the underdog wasn't going away. Soon, the rallies started looking completely different. Instead of defending, Eala was attacking first. Instead of reacting, she was making Swiatek react. That single shift completely changed the momentum. The defending champion was no longer controlling the match. She was trying to solve it. And that's a position very few opponents ever managed to put her in. As the games passed, the atmosphere around center court slowly transformed. Earlier, the crowd had expected another routine victory. Now every rally brought louder applause. Every winner from Eala drew bigger reactions. Every point carried more tension. You could almost feel the belief spreading through the stadium. The fans weren't simply watching an upset anymore. They were starting to believe it could actually happen. Across the net, Swiatek remained composed. Champions rarely show panic, but tiny signs of pressure slowly appeared. A frustrated glance after an unforced error. A longer pause before serving. A quiet conversation with herself after losing another important rally. Nothing dramatic, just enough to show that Alex Eala was forcing one of the world's best players outside her comfort zone. Then came another turning point. Whenever Swiatek landed a second serve, Eala attacked without hesitation. She stepped inside the baseline. She struck the return with confidence. And immediately took control of the rally. That aggressive mindset kept applying pressure. Not just on the scoreboard, but mentally. Every successful return planted another seed of doubt. Every service hold gave Eala more confidence. By the middle of the second set, one thing had become impossible to ignore. Alex Eala wasn't just surviving. She was controlling the match. She had completely changed the emotional balance of the contest. The pressure had moved. Earlier, it belonged to the underdog. Now, it belonged to the defending champion. When Eala finally leveled the match, center court erupted. The impossible suddenly looked possible. One set remained. Just one. But everyone inside the stadium understood that this final set would no longer be about rankings. It wouldn't be about reputation. It would be about courage. It would be about belief. And it would become the biggest test of Alex Eala's young career. The deciding set began exactly the way great matches often do. Not with wild winners. Not with dramatic celebrations. But with two players refusing to give away a single point. Every rally carried enormous importance. Every service game felt heavier than the last. Alex Eala, however, looked completely different from the player who had lost the opening set. She wasn't thinking about the rankings anymore. She wasn't thinking about the occasion. She wasn't even thinking about who stood across the net. She was simply playing her tennis, and that freedom made her dangerous. Every time Swiatek looked for control, Eala answered with another fearless shot. Every time the defending champion tried to slow the pace, Eala sped it up again. She attacked short balls without hesitation. She trusted her forehand. She trusted her movement. Most importantly, she trusted herself. Across the net, Swiatek was beginning to feel something she rarely experiences. Pressure. The player who usually forces mistakes was now the one searching for answers. She tried changing directions. She tried shortening rallies. She looked for any opportunity to regain momentum. But Alex Eala refused to let it happen. Every difficult point seemed to go her way. Every successful service game strengthened her confidence. Every winner brought another roar from center court. The atmosphere inside the stadium became unforgettable. Earlier that afternoon, most fans expected to witness another comfortable victory for the defending champion. Now, they were watching history unfold. Then came the biggest game of the entire match. With everything on the line, Eala earned the crucial break of serve. It wasn't just another number on the scoreboard. It was the moment the impossible suddenly became real. From that point onward, everyone inside center court knew they might be witnessing one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. But earning the lead is one thing. Closing out a Grand Slam champion is something completely different. This is where many young players become nervous. They start protecting the lead instead of chasing the victory. They stop playing freely. They begin thinking about the finish line. Alex Eala did the exact opposite. She stayed aggressive. She stayed patient. She trusted every decision that had brought her to that moment. Point after point, she refused to let the pressure change her approach. That emotional control may have been the most impressive part of her performance. Because defeating one of the world's best players isn't only about powerful shots. It's about making the right decision when your heart is racing faster than ever. Alex Eala kept making those decisions. Again, and again, and again. As she stepped up to serve for the biggest victory of her career, center court fell almost silent. Thousands of spectators watched every movement, every bounce of the ball, every swing of the racket. The tension was impossible to ignore. Then, the final point arrived. One last exchange, one final shot, and suddenly, it was over. Alex Eala raised her arms as center court exploded into applause. The defending champion had been defeated. One of the biggest names in women's tennis was out. And a 21-year-old Filipina had announced herself to the entire world. It wasn't just another upset. It was a career-defining moment. Within minutes, social media exploded. Fans from the Philippines celebrated a historic victory. Tennis analysts praised not only the result, but the maturity, discipline, and courage Eala had shown throughout the match. Because this wasn't a lucky performance. It was built on smart tactics, calm decision-making, mental toughness, and the confidence to challenge one of the very best players in the sport without fear. Of course, one incredible victory doesn't guarantee a Grand Slam title. The road only becomes more difficult from here. Future opponents will study her game more carefully. The expectations will become much higher. And every match will bring a different challenge. But every great career has one moment that changes everything. For Alex Eala, this may have been that moment. The tennis world isn't watching her because of her potential anymore. It's watching because she has already proven she belongs on the biggest stage. And if this performance is a glimpse of what's still to come, women's tennis may have just found its next major superstar. What do you think? Was this simply one unforgettable Wimbledon upset? Or was it the day Alex Eala officially announced herself as a genuine Grand Slam contender? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy in-depth tennis stories, match analysis, and the biggest moments from the world of tennis, be sure to subscribe to Tennis Insider Daily. Because in tennis, history can change in a